second annual, not only the second annual LLAPy Awards for the Live Long and Prosper Awards, but it's the second annual Live Long and Prosper Awards after show, aka the reaction show, aka the wrap-up show, aka the what the F show, I saw it called in
the whatever show, whatever we want it to be, because they asked us back.
Yeah.
And look who's here. So it's me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek. I'm thrilled to do this again for the second year. And we've got Charlynn Schmiedt. Hey, Char.
Hello. Yes, I'm back too. And we have a newcomer with us.
Yeah, no, Anne-Marie was just on the award show.
And Anne-Marie, yes. Who's been here all weekend.
Yeah, John, this is the first time we've actually been able to meet and talk. So,
yes, I know,
from, Screen Rant?
Screen Rant. Yeah, John Orquiola from Screen Rant.
Yes. So let's just dive in because they went a little over, but it was all goodness. And it was great to see Walter there at the end. We'll say Walter for our end. So, hey, Anne-Marie, you were just there. So what was it like being at the live LLAPy
I have
Award?
to say, like, when you see the people in the waiting room and the first, like, all of a sudden somebody rolls up and it's just black screen and it says Jen Martok. And you're like, oh, here comes It was very, very fun. And I just can never get enough hearing from all the guests, except, I mean, it's just like such an honor to see people like Chris Fisher, who directed the best episode of the year, which we'll get into, staying up till 10 with his daughter to come on and accept it. It's
adorable.
Just,
and
then also, I have to say, like, Walter was actually there for over an hour just watching, like, from the green room. It's so special seeing how supportive the whole Trek family is for each other. So, and just like, wow, do we have a lot to discuss?
So many things.
It was a really fun show, but it was almost like watching the Muppet Show, but it was about Star Trek. Like, it was just like there was all this weird chaos going on.
Oh my gosh! I was also shocked. Like, so many people made their own envelopes this year. Like,
right.
Including Jeffrey Combs, who like drew a logo on it.
And then Terry Farrell
becoming a tradition.
Terry Farrell literally called Robert O'Reilly and J.J. Hertzler Statler and Waldorf, which is like, that was perfect. That's exactly what this is.
Well, I think it was produced by Kirk Thatcher.
You've given a whole new meaning to It Ain't Easy Being Green now. When you're Star Trek crossover. Wow. And so everybody, we've got chat going. If you weren't aware of that, hello YouTube, and thanks and welcome to the TREKLAND channel, everybody. Like and subscribe while you're here. But we're seeing your chat, and you guys all can see that. I didn't check with you. Everybody can see the chat.
Yeah,
we can see everybody's here. So it's amazing.
Feel free to. Well, that one guy isn't here, but anyway, we can also feel free to jump in and look at chat as we're going along. It's awesome to see a lot of folks I know, a lot of folks new here to me. So yay, glad everybody's here. It's been an incredible day of the pre-show awards and then the award show and now us. But we're only on day 4 of the 5-day virtual TrekCon, if you weren't aware. So
that's right. There's more tomorrow.
Yes.
And Larry, you're doing something tomorrow, yes?
Yes. I had to go live to Gallifrey 1 yesterday, but the rest of the days I wound up with something every day this year, which is
crazy.
Awesome.
And I have to say, like, this is how I felt last year too. By having Dr. Trek do the after show, it basically makes the LLAPy's canon. And at some point, we're gonna get a companion book.
Wait. If this is canon, then I feel like there should be like pay envelopes coming for us or something, and I don't think that's happening because it's all for good causes and good vibe. But if somebody accidentally makes it canon, I wouldn't complain. But okay,
one day.
Wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah.
I'm expecting the only canon that we're making is the one that's loaded and pointed right at us. But okay.
Different kind of canonista.
So Anne-Marie, are we doing? So there was so tell us just a second. There were the awards split into 2 sections this year.
So
because the ballot was very long. You can be the accountant.
Okay, I know.
Can
so
you be
basically,
from Price Waterhouse.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So basically what happened is we had last year we had our main LLAPy awards, and then we also realized that those first couple of years of Discovery were not going to be counted at all because they didn't fit into Legacy, they didn't fit into like the new ones. So we had a Renaissance section and did a little like award show Saturday with those. So this year, obviously, there wasn't a Renaissance section to do because now we've covered everything. So Ryan decided to do a just for fun category, which were like ridiculous questions, like who's the best bowler from Enterprise? And then we had Tracy, Coco, Lieutenant Jay come on and help represent those. That was a very ruckus, good time. But yeah, so they were on the ballot that I sent you, but those weren't really included. And then we had the pre-show cover 2 of the main questions because with 51 new episodes of Star Trek in a year and 5 series going on,
that's just too much.
Very hard.
That down a
little.
little.
It's a lot.
We were like, I was like, I'm trying to talk fast, but we just needed to get some other, so some of the other questions out of the way. So we gave them over to our amazing, like, good time pre-show, which was Randy Frank from Lambda Quadrant hosted on his channel. If you haven't seen it, you'll have to go back and watch. And then the Sci-Fi Sisters, all 4 of them were there being amazing and hilarious.
Yes.
And they were also joined by Lori Elster from Trek Movie, who also is doing a podcast, which is it's amazing. I can't recommend it enough. It's called All Access, one of Trek Movies 2 podcasts, and they talk about the news every week, her and Tony. So All Access.
We have go ahead. So just to wrap this, so some of the winners list that we have some of them already been dealt with, or are we including them tonight too?
Everybody has been dealt with. Everyone has been dealt with accordingly.
It's all been done.
It's all been done. We don't have to do anything then. Cool.
I mean, we're going to start at the top of the list and work our way down. I'm just wondering where the bottom of the list is. Is it this?
The bottom of the list is just right before those just for fun ones.
Okay, so the just for funs have been wrapped, and they're all under the tree, waiting to be reopened. Okay.
Yeah, I need a break from those. The others are so much fun.
Alrighty.
And then, so it's like the whole list. I can't remember if they were on there, but the 3 honorees who were not voted on, but we just award because.
Well, we're gonna dive. Let's dive into this. But I have one. I have a surprise of our own here.
My God!
What we got?
Yes. And look,
your life.
I'm Ralph Edwards. Google it. Okay. This is starting to turn into one of my shows now. No, we've got a special guest here, someone you have not seen in a long time. But look who it is, everybody. It is.
Hey, Ryan T-Husk.
So real quick, I just want to say something that I forgot to say during the live show. And that is stay tuned for the rap part, the after rap show right here, right now. Boy, it's going to be so great. Don't touch that dial. And
thanks,
also,
Ryan.
Was that last show
started? But also, I want to make an announcement that I should have said at the very end of that other one as well.
Afters.
For everybody that made their guesses, the predictions of who they thought was going to win. We did say that during the closing ceremonies tomorrow at, what time is that, Anne-Marie? I think 2:15 p.m. Pacific time and 5:15 p.m. Eastern time, I believe is what it is. I'll check and make sure. But that's when we're going to announce all of the winners and the people that are going to get the prizes with their guesses for the LLAPys. No, sorry, 4:15 p.m. Pacific time, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. However, the big surprise is that we're actually going to announce one of those winners tonight, right now.
Oh,
well, not right now. Anne-Marie is going to announce it, though. So I'm going to leave, and she's going to choose when she wants to announce it. It's coming to your phone right now. We are going to announce one of the winners. It's going to be the 3rd place winner. Just to mix things up. So
and just say that again. This is a contest. These are the winners that won for what now? Again?
They made guesses. It was kind of like filling out your March Madness bracket. We had like a whole point system, and people were filling these out, and we're going to be giving out prizes for 1st place, 2nd place, 3rd, and so on. Right now, Anne-Marie, or whenever you decide, it could be at the end of the show.
This is cool. This is like a deep cut here, but this is like Majel used to have an Oscars party, and you did the same thing like a March bracket. You would make a prediction. Everybody put $20 in, and then they had first, second, and third place winners at the end of the night.
A gift certificate to Lincoln Enterprises.
I kept one or two of those. I need to like scan them and share them out sometime. Anyway,
That's amazing.
Okay, Anne Marie, I guess it's your spotlight.
Well,
whenever you want. No rush.
okay,
It doesn't have to be now. It could be later if you want to just make them wait, or she could do it right now. But I just wanted to point that out because I forgot to say it at the end of the show. It'll be the third place winner. Everybody else will be announced during the closing ceremonies at 4:15.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I was trying to do the time zone calculation in my head, and I just don't know. And I don't see her in the live chat. But what I'm gonna do. So what do you think? Should I wait till the end, or should I announce now and then wait for everybody to make sure I see it when she comes?
Whenever you and these brilliant minds say is best. I'm out of here. This is your show. You guys are freaking amazing. Love you. Now I need to figure out how to
I'm gonna wait a little bit, and then I'm gonna.
Bye, Ryan.
Okay.
Bye, Shar. Larry.
It's good to see you, Ryan. I just wish I'd known about the bring your own green screen memo. I didn't.
It looks like a original series planet.
It is. This is the planet with the
I
golf
set up my
game.
whole room to be the Cerritos for this.
I'm like, let me just.
It's buffer
make
time.
A note to not forget about that. Okay. Yeah. So where do you want to start, Larry? It's your.
So you're going to wait on the
thing.
prize winner. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see
All
if
right.
I see her pop up into the live chat in the next.
Well,
hour.
in the immortal words of Julie Andrews, why don't we start at the very beginning? Because it's a
very
very
Sounds good.
place to start.
It's organized. Yes.
Okay, and we can go around the circle here. And those of you who have a special memory, and someone help me keep an eye on the chat because I'm going to be in, but I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. Everybody sound off, keep it going, keep it lively. You know what to do. And I can even, if it's good enough, I can even spotlight. I can do that.
Nice.
This is just like Tuesdays Live. So our first category, I'm saying, is a legacy. Star Trek pre-2017. And so this was the best character arc. There were several, and let's another more Price Waterhouse, but just so everybody knows, and I'm sure you said this during the award show, the categories, much less the nominee, the categories were voted on by fans in a lot of cases.
Some of them.
And the nominees were all voted from a huge list, and then the finalists finally.
Yeah, so we don't release the numbers of votes, but what I can tell you, so we kind of came up with most of the categories for the real main awards. A lot of them were based on what we were doing last year, and they're built so that every single year we can kind of riff off of each other. So we announced the categories, and then we did 1 million Facebook polls, or a poll for each category in multiple groups that all fed into one poll, and everybody could vote 3 things in each poll, and you could write in. So some of them have 70 or 80 nominations. And then through that, usually there's a big drop off. So we go through them and are oh, that's why some categories have 5, some have 7 or 8. Wherever that big drop off would happen is how many we chose. And that had hundreds and hundreds of people voting. And then from there, we put them all together on a Google Doc, and everybody could vote once. And another group of hundreds of votes coming in, and then that's how we got the votes. So it's not done by the team, just to clarify. And also, I'm in 300 Facebook groups, so it's not just shared into.
How?
As long as they approve my post, it's not just shared into 7th rule, which is kind of a misconception. So we really make sure that it's everybody, and then Ryan does the newsletters for Voyager documentary, for example. So it's really not just a Deep Space Nine fan.
I tried to spread it wherever I could. So the stages. So yeah.
I see and I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, and you had a lot more folks besides me spreading the word too. But even though you can't get to everybody, with anything you promote, there's always somebody later on. So, I wish I'd known. I would have liked to vote. It's well, okay, next year.
Oh,
Of course.
You got it. Well, we should. I was just
Unmute
laughing.
me from Facebook then.
I was just laughing. People love the Sound of Music reference, I guess, which is cool.
Come sing with me at Marie's Crisis.
Very popular.
And again, it's getting late on the East Coast, so there we go. I'm just seeing a lot of folks from my Tuesdays Live and our Portales and stuff. People are laughing. Yeah, this is only on YouTube tonight, gang. So no Twitch, no Facebook. So we've got everybody in one chat. And
Might show up on Parrot Analytics though.
We wish. So the Legacy Star Trek show pre-17, that is. Best character arc. The nominees were Damar. I don't know if should we repeat these? You guys just said them all.
Let's just, let's go
Get
through
to the winner.
Yeah. And then if you think there aren't people to mention while we're talking about the winners.
Because all of us have the nominees, and everybody who's watching hopefully heard them or saw the nominees or whatever. So I think this is one that's there's several. What is there? 8 here. So it was Nog. The best legacy Star Trek character arc was voted on and was Nog. So anybody have a memory from I didn't get to see this part of the awards show. What? So
this one was
makes sense to me. Of all these,
and Melissa accepted it. Yeah, and this is one where obviously it's easy to say, well, it's because who was voting, but this is one where you just kind of hear from all parts of fandom. His was an amazing character arc, and the comparison is all the amazing character arcs of all the series. That's all I have to say about it. What about you guys?
I look at these and I think of some of them like linear, like number line, like not profits, like from here to here. A lot of these, Damar and Data and the Doctor and Garrick and Kira, and like they have an arc and it goes from here to here. But I always visualize for some reason Nog's being from like here to here. It's like very low play. Instead of just he was over here and he went from A to B, he went from like minus 100 to plus 100 or so. I don't know. It
was a complete transformation of that character, but a very logical evolution of this young kid who was a Ferengi, but also believed in something that none of the Ferengi ever did, which was Starfleet, and then dedicated himself to it and became really just an incredible Starfleet officer and suffered for it too.
Yes.
And as much as all these people had an arc that covered a lot of ground, and some of them even more than others that we all famously talk about, it just feels like Nog had the longest and the most amazing and the most surprising.
I think the most amazing. Yeah, I definitely agree with this, with him winning. But I also agree with, looking at this list of
can keep it. Okay.
Yes. Melissa can keep it. Well, yeah,
I want an appeal.
There's 9 nominees here, but 5 of them, including Worf, who I count as DS9, are from DS9, which makes perfect sense. DS9 is the best written show. It's my favorite show. It is the one with the best characters overall, with the best character arcs in terms of just sheer quantity of characters who are given incredible stories straight through.
Quantity, for sure, yeah.
Quantity.
I was always going to say DS9 was the show with the bones and the format to support having the most characters with the ability to have an arc.
Yes.
They got to go 7 years.
You would think that Voyager would have 2, but...
Yeah. But also so amazing that people in this list also aren't just main cast. And I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's secondary cast representing and winning in this category. That's pretty cool.
Well, and again, DS9 there. Okay, so next category, favorite Delta Quadrant species.
Yeah. Can you take this one?
So there was a caveat really fast that didn't show up on this form. And the caveat was that it couldn't be the Borg because we had already been introduced to them. And then also it had to be in 2 or more episodes. So that's how we got this list.
Well, thank you, because there were deltas of the week all through Voyager, which was
exactly. And shockingly, I mean, I think the list came out to like 9 or 10 to choose from to get to these finalists. So like, it's impressive that they had to come up with that many aliens, like 4 heads of the week. But yeah, okay.
Well, speaking of which, the winner was the one that was not the 4 head of the week. Shock.
Sure wasn't. No, CGI represents Species 8472 taking this crown. I love it. Very unique to the Delta Quadrant.
So panel, I feel like we're going to be like Olympic judging here on the results or something. 9-2, 9-4, 9-5, and a 3-7 from the East German. Okay.
I give it a 9.5.
It feels like that was totally expected. I mean, like that was what else could you have said?
Yeah.
Well,
certainly
the Hirogen are in here.
Apart from actors who played roles, like who played Hirogen, who who was playing Ocampa and Krenim and Talaxians and all that.
Right.
It's like, as a species on paper, the most imaginative one. Yeah.
Yeah,
certainly.
Totally. Yeah. Does Amelia Earhart count as a Delta Quadrant species?
Did she get a nomination, Anne-Marie?
I think she's displaced Alpha, John. I don't think we can count that.
No, that's a write-in.
And John Berlin and all the other names of those. Oh, no, those were. I started to say Trabe, not Trabe. Those were the Oh, forget it.
Well,
Fred
speaking of the
Noonan.
tree,
Fred
notice who
Noonan.
isn't on this
Kaiser's
list?
here. Oh,
What?
The Kazon. Nobody likes
The
the
Kazon.
Kazon.
Nobody likes.
Oh,
I was actually really surprised by that. Like they had some okay episodes. I was like shocked that some of these that weren't even barely in it got in, and not the Kazon. Like,
You know,
ouch, Voyager early season.
Yeah.
the Krenum got a
Yeah.
two-parter, so that they squeaked by, but it was a really
Oh.
well done.
Which
really
was
good
also
one.
written in by Marina Kropchuk, and I just love that one of her writers.
Of course it was.
What a super fan. Yeah.
I think
She
Krenum is
is.
in this list. Just they get coasted by on what's his name.
So yeah, Lori Ulster made that point too, and she was thinking they might actually win because there's the 90s show, and this category might be coasting in on that like media wave. But apparently, 8472 pulled out all the stops, and Robert Kaiser mentioned in the live chat. What was really cool was Dan Curry coming in to accept it and kind of give us a little bit more history on the CGI of it.
Cool.
Favorite one-off character in Enterprise, which talk about a micro focus on something that probably hadn't been micro focused on. This was awesome.
It's about time.
And
Yeah.
the Ferengi Krem from Acquisition, Feasel, Phlox. Actually,
I was cheering for Feasel so hard.
I know. Visiting Progenitor, A.G. Robinson. Well, actually, a backstory show in Enterprise. Oh my God. Sim Trip from Sim, the Illyrian captain, that Casey's character on Enterprise, which famously was part of the whole, oh, look at Archer went dark. And there's a whole story. If you've never heard me tell that, I won't do it now. But the whole thing of the Firefly Enterprise crossover connection. But the winner was, everybody?
Tamir.
Yes.
Tamir from Carbon Creek.
Carbon Creek. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a very popular episode. It's a fan favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite episode of Enterprise. For me, it was the only nominee. Yeah. It's by far my favorite episode of Enterprise.
I was on board with Feasel.
Oh, I do. The thing is,
just
that's
like
my favorite
saying
episode, but Feasel's so awesome. I'm just so obsessed with her. She's kind of like the Loxon, could have been the Loxon of Enterprise. But
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
You're just thrilled to see another Denobulan.
I know. I just want to know all the minutia of their lives. But I will say, like, my comment for this one is that Renee, from that episode of Oasis with Renee and Annie Wershing, Renee was nominated, but whoever put it in didn't put, like, it might have been me actually, didn't put that it was Renee's character in the parentheses. And I think with some of these one-offs, especially for Enterprise, it's hard to know them by name. So he didn't make the finalists. And then I think had we lost Annie since then, people would have remembered that she was such a good actress. It didn't register, at least to me, until I was reminded that was her.
That was her first TV role.
It's just incredible.
Yeah,
so I think
she was very, she was a young actress, and so many. There were A guest stars and the guest role sizes and the B's and the C's, and she was in there, but the spotlight at the moment went to Renee because he was oh look, it's Renee playing another character at the time.
I think those two deserve to make the finalist list, so they did in my heart. And lots to talk about Sim. I mean, it was a very incredible episode.
You could hash all these now. During the award show, I was going to say, there's no time to do all this. What we're doing now, and now the pre-show they did this too. But in the moment, you're focusing on the winners and who's talking, and oh look, it's a surprise, and
I'm like, get me to the nitty gritty with Larry and Shar and John. We have a lot to discuss.
Forget the winners. We want to see these folks.
Yeah.
Sim was an interesting one too, because like that was a character played by two different characters in the episode. So when I was like, oh, if he wins, like which one would we ask to accept?
I'm just glad right now that we don't have an emoji for barfing at that, because what I said, because the chat room is being very respectful here. Yeah, you all want. Let's just skip the awards and see what they say about it.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm, one of these may come along where we're all violently in opposition to the winner, which does not mean we don't like the real person who won or accepted it. It means we may have, and I don't know, you may have some insight, Anne Marie, about maybe like there was a vote that was very close, and not to make the winner feel bad or something, but just as a interest, I don't know. I'm saying if that happens, let us know, okay? If it's not upsetting any apple carts or whatever. Funniest moment in Deep Space Nine. You know, the darker, grittier show, which actually was the funniest show of all. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was
Of the legacy of the Berman era. So, so funniest moment in Deep Space Nine. Here's several nominations, but guess what wins? Worf shouting, "Death to the opposition!"
Yes.
From
I mean, it's hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Another fan favorite.
I agree with Sirach. I would have voted for, or I did vote for, Nog trades away Cisco's desk, which to me is, I love that. I love the whole Great River. I love all the shenanigans of Nog trying to teach Chief O'Brien how the Ferengi way can be a lot better than going through Starfleet protocols. Just such a great episode.
What was amazing to know that Nog was studying old American dramedies and that Nog was channeling radar from MASH.
Right.
He had heard some guy who looked like Odo was in a MASH movie or something.
I was waiting for them to like disassemble a runabout down to the nuts and bolts and mail it somewhere, and then mail it. Okay, a little.
Well, I think what I'll say about that is that Worf is he was right. His old ship did think he was very funny. We all do. Last year, like the TNG funniest moment, one for "I Am Not a Married Man."
I was going to say.
So, you know, just everything he says is funny. And then the other thing that, as I was looking through this was also a massive list of write-ons, was that Deep Space Nine just like had so much funny stuff and so many funny episodes. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt like it was giving a bit of a handicap to the category because, like, how do you even remember? Like,
yes.
So,
you know, there's an old actors and directors, writers thing about if it's a drama, look for the comedy. If it's a comedy, look for the drama. Like, get the thing that goes against the grain, and that's what really brings it alive and gives you texture. And that was so true of DS9. It was the dark, gritty show, but oh my gosh! See, and you know what wasn't even in here? The one where they actually managed to say, maybe it was that same episode. It's Nog and Jake, where it's Geiger. They do lions and tigers and bears.
Like and oh my!
And then the bit where Quark and Rom, or Quark and Odo, Quark and somebody, they do the war. What's it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Straight-faced war.
So good. And I also thought like that like the Marauder Mo action figure in movies, like, I told you not to take it out of the box. So, like, there's so many funny moments. It was just
the profit in taking it out of the box. Yes.
Which episode was it when Quark quoted First Contact, where he literally said, "Line must be drawn here"?
He was talking about Ferengi culture and not humanizing his bar. Yes.
Yeah.
Was it the finale? Or the
it was one of those last couple episodes.
Yes.
It was in the
it was when he thought he was going to be Grand Nagus. I think it was when it was when he thought he was going to be Grand Nagus.
So the second to last episode.
Which was the penultimate. They got Rom wrapped up before the finale.
Right.
The penultimate. Yes. Quark telling Brunt to get back in the club. I'm sorry. I know we have so much good stuff going on in the chat that
These are good selections, though. The whole list is great.
Yeah.
Any one of them really could have won.
Yeah. Well, and see, this is also the wisdom, Anne-Marie and everybody. The funniest moment in Star Trek is way too broad. So the idea that you're at least limiting these down to the series and you'll channel through them as the years go through. So now we have, speaking of across the board, though, best legacy series finale. And one of these is just so sad because it was never meant to be a finale. It was just the last script.
I know.
Yeah, it's not in my head canon.
Yeah. Star Trek 6 was the finale episode.
It was the finale. Absolutely.
That's right.
So, yeah.
The proper one.
Yes. And then to have, and I know Aaron Harvey will love this, that TAS got included as a series, but the counterclock incident wasn't really.
It's not a finale.
Yes.
No.
Which really
I am surprised.
With 4.
Yeah. This surprised me the most of anything at the awards. What You Leave Behind is an incredible finale, but All Good Things is one of the best finales ever, and not just of Star Trek, but television.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, I don't disagree in the sense that, it doesn't deserve to win. It's a great, great finale, but All Good Things. How do you argue against it?
It's come on.
And during all the Picard premiere promo hoopla, all the TNG cast say the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, the finale was the best finale in television history. So there you go.
You know, I think maybe there's like a tide or something, because honestly, I thought All Good Things was going to win. And back like 10 years ago, I listened to Star Trek podcasts to go to bed. So I'm always like cycling through a decade of them. And it seems like 10 years or so ago, everybody would say, well, I mean, and also I keep it on during the day when I'm doing work. So
you're doing it on 10 times speed, right?
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, but it seemed like that was the consensus. And then maybe like with that Deep Space Nine documentary, I think that really gave What We Leave Behind some oomph. And like, you know,
Maybe
honestly, I couldn't make up my mind between those two and Voyager. So I think this category, I mean, I vote once with the Google Doc. And Ryan is a better person than me, so he doesn't even vote. But I'm like, whatever, you need my vote. No, I just vote once. And I think I maybe left it blank because it's just, how do you decide? And also, I think Endgame might be my favorite, even though they should have like celebrated more at the end and shown some afterthoughts. But that's just me. But I was surprised it wasn't. I mean, I just didn't know who it would be.
You were kidding about this, about promoting the whole LLAPy's, voting process, much less the show, and with its coming out of seventh role and maybe having a little bit of a DS9 audience slant. So I didn't know if maybe that contributed some of this, but the whole Netflix revolution, everybody binging, because back in the day, the phone, when Next Gen ended and the movies and Generations was there, but then First Contact, I feel like was like peak of the 90s Trek, Norman Trek.
Yeah, the height.
And that was Twitter. Before that, the fandom came down, and then it's like some people went away and some people split between Voyager and DS9 or just gave up because they couldn't find it or they didn't have a UPN station or they...
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah, so all good thing. And so it's been the Netflix revolution to even bring Deep Space, much less Voyager and Enterprise, back in people's, the whole new generation that now says, well, DS9's the one that survived the test of time the best. And anyway, that's all our fodder. So, new Star Trek, this mega category, specifically from 2022. So only the things that, so if there were like, were there any split series?
Yes, Discovery.
Not counting the Prodigy Part 1, Part 2, which is silly, but yes.
So Discovery was the big one that split. I think it was 6 episodes counted. And so that was also like, and no Discovery has come back since then. So that's kind of like Discovery's represented a little less than the others in the like all 22 categories, not the one that is Discovery specific. I think probably mostly because it was just 6 episodes compared to 10 or 20.
Well, I would say
I think
they're stronger episodes. I think the whole science, not humanoid, bumpy-headed alien discovery, we communicate with smell, et cetera, were the stronger episodes anyway. So
shout out to Mohammed Noor, who helped with Tensi and
sure did.
Who's in the chat?
Yes.
Hello, Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Yeah. So the first one of these only any show only first airing in 2022.
What I'm going to say about these two really fast is that we're hoping to have like these same categories every single year, so we can compare them over. They're the most prestigious ones.
So next year we're going to talk about the funniest moments from 2022 again.
Yeah, and we did last year too. Which I think last year what one was like. Oh, I see what you're saying. Last year what one was like Michael Burnham
locked in. She's exhausted with this.
Yeah. So
okay. So funniest moment of 2022 overall. And I don't want to repeat the nominees again. So these are all great. So the winner is Spock into Pring's body, answering the call, all doing everything for for Spock Amok. Or as I keep hearing people say, Spock Amok, because they want to have the strange new world.
No, I agree with this. Spock Amok is my favorite episode of Strange New Worlds. It's probably my favorite episode of all Star Trek last year. Incredibly funny episode. Incredibly great performances by both Ethan Peck and Gia Sandu playing each other. And then the B stories in that episode were also great with Enterprise Bingo on the Enterprise.
Right. Yeah, also nominated here.
And the wacky ambassador.
Wacky ambassador. Right?
And Nurse Chaplain Spock.
And Nurse Chaplain Spock. And Pike wearing Kirk's green shirt. his green wraparound.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
so much happened in that episode.
And the ambassadorial thing, the excuse to keep Uhura out of the whole Spock to Pring circle, so she doesn't have anything to know about T'Pring.
Right.
We're slicing that cannon, we're threading that needle, boy, howdy. Yes.
And at the very end, there was a shout out to the DS9 solar cell when the ship came by, and it looked a lot like the ship that Cisco and Jake flew.
Which that ancient Bajoran technology. Yeah. Which had nothing to do with these guys. But it was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, just audience wise. Okay.
I think what I will say about that one is that because Lower Decks is made to be a comedy. And I think what happens sometimes is that because there's so many funny things, they all get added and then it sort of splits the category, splits the votes. And then like not every Star Trek person is as crazy as us. So maybe people haven't seen like every single new series yet. So I think, it's not that we don't think Lower Decks isn't
as
funny.
much as Lower Decks has elevated the whole frame grab Easter egg industry. I think the two animated series still do not have the same viewership that the live actions do. So
That's true.
Which is a dirty old shame.
Yeah, which is. And then when you're splitting the vote. So so just as a curiosity here. So I'm seeing there were 2 Lower Decks nominations, right? And 3. I'm sorry. There were 3 Lower Decks, 1 from Prodigy and 2 from Strange News. So right. Peanut Hamper was one of the nominations there. Okay. So from funniest to most exciting moment of 2022. And again, there's 6 here? 1, 2, 3, 7? 6. 2, 3, 6. Yeah. 6. Discovery has 1, Prodigy has 1, 2 from Lower Decks, 1 from Strange New, and 1 from Picard. So a pretty even smattering there.
Yeah,
and the most exciting that was voted on by you all was the Borg Queen's arrival, her entrance in the pilot for Picard season 2 in the Stargate.
It was a really cool entrance. It looked amazing, but this did not get my vote. So I'm going to be a little contrarian and saying that the Kelly class, the Kelly class showing up at the very end of Lower Decks season finale was freaking epic.
Yes,
that's what I had to go for.
I was actually like going for Klimt on an animated. Well, I guess I get one of those a year on both shows. But the Kelly clips, and then I was like, "Wait, what are the like? They're going down the line there, blah 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 blah." Burbank.
Yeah, the Van Nuys, the Sherman Oaks, the West Covina, blah 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 blah.
That was amazing.
I'm like, see, the red part of the state gets a ship. Yay! See, Star Trek equality. Yay!
Okay. Yes, major kudos to Jack Quaid for saying that in one breath.
All of that.
What, John?
No, I was going to agree with Jack Quaid having to say all of those words breakneck pace. Really, just a great performance. But this didn't get my vote either. My vote would have gone to Encountering the Romulans for Strange New Worlds finale. Which when I first saw that, my jaw dropped when I realized what they were doing. That they were actually going to redo a classic TOS episode, one of the best ones from season 1, and do it differently, but still have the aesthetics, the lighting. Like they did so many amazing things, matching shots.
The captain walking in front of the helm console, and they talked about having it on loop right there so they could match the lighting as he walked around the front of the helm during his I was just that was the biggest brain drain to me because I was like, okay, now what makes sense as future fake history example, and what makes sense as canon that's gonna have to be okay, and canon that doesn't make any difference because it's future fake. And I was like, oh, wait, the Farragut's not the Farragut, so the old Farragut in this timeline went away, and then Kirk got to be his lieutenant. Now he's a captain in a different Farragut, and it's cute, but was it a mistake or what? Anyway, but it's all good. It's just
okay. It doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. So.
It's the temporal crystals. It's better than Q magic. It doesn't have to make any sense. It's
just go with it.
You thought Borth was just a clone Kalis, but it's so much more. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So we all. So how about you, Anne-Marie? What was your vote on this one? Everybody has a different.
Okay, I actually don't remember because they're all.
But it wasn't the Borg. Mine was not the Borg.
I feel like I voted for the Borg Queen because of the Edith Piaf incorporation. I'm such a mega fan. But it was a hard one. I mean, Yeah.
So the score, the music choice gets your.
I mean, it was the moment. So.
Yeah, I think mine was either the Cali class or it may have been the Cali class. But anyway, it's good. All good things.
It's all good.
A location list for the
all good things.
Wrong year. Okay, so now the biggest wow moment of 2022.
Ooh.
And there were 6 here again. Discovery has 1, Picard has 1, Prodigy has 1,
5.
Strange New has 2. So that's 5. Yes, I can do
Right.
that. Oh, bottom line didn't have a bullet. Yes. So, and the winner was Hemmer's death.
Hemmer.
Hemmer's death. Yeah.
Yep. This is definitely the biggest shocker to me, where this was a very earned death and did not see it coming and was very sad when it did happen, because I love Hemmer. Fantastic character. All that he did for inspiring Uhura and her path. Just, and he's dead? Really? I mean, this is sci-fi. It's never forever. But oh my God, they did that.
Yeah.
They did it well. How dare they?
They did it because they understood that there were so many legacy characters on this show, and they felt like, Spock's going to make it through. Uhura's going to be fine. Nurse Chapel's going to be fine. So there had to be somebody that could be sacrificed so that there were stakes on the show. But still, we still didn't see it coming.
No.
The chief engineer dies in episode 9.
Yeah, you think like Tasha Yar would have taught me to not be so surprised.
Right. I'm a little bit better with the death than Tasha Yar, I have to say.
Much more.
With all the promo of buildup about the Andorian and being an Enar and being partly blind and a blind actor playing the blind character, and all of that,
completely shocking.
It was all great.
I'm just sad to see, Star Trek descending once again to that old trope about kill your Enars. But okay,
never meet your Enars and always kill your Enars.
Right? Yeah, or something. But the vibe of that is very much a thing of, we love older, 60s or Berman Trek, whatever. But it's like nobody ever died unless they were leaving the show or they were being pushed off the show, sadly, for whatever.
Right, because contracts.
Right. So yes, so it's like, no, we're going to be bold and daring and show how independent we are, and we're not locked into the old formulas, and we're not, this is different.
You know what? How about don't be bold and daring? I want it back.
Like,
when
was hired knowing we're going to kill you off.
Yeah. Like, we need to Shax Hemmer.
You would think like he really popped on screen, especially like him and Spock, and like there was just so much chemistry with characters, him and Uhura. I'm kind of shocked they didn't see that and then just change their minds. And we really just didn't delve into his character that much. And
it was very intriguing how the pilot was so jam-packed with dealing with Pike's backstory, pancakes in the snowstorm, and then and his overnight guest, but then also introducing all the characters. Oh, it's the legacy characters, and then having an actual plot that's part of the show too, which is a lot to pack into a 1-hour pilot. And the idea that we all knew he was the chief, we all saw the promo, and even if you didn't, knowing that he's the thing they chose to have his pilot moment in the second episode, except for he beams in and you get the glimpse of him, and it's like, ooh, who's that? It's like you didn't see Garak until the second episode of DS9, and even though he wasn't a regular, might as well have been. You know what I'm saying? And Rom was, but there's the later shows all have bits that really sometimes the pilots were just so big. Something got Keiko. You didn't see Keiko in the pilot of DS9. She was like left over to the. And speaking of DS9, that makes sense since they had 47 different characters. Basically, should have been. But anyway, yeah, and I mean, and these are all, wow moments. Well, we knew Q was okay. Anyway,
that was a thing. Like some of them, like when we
didn't have any disagreements, huh?
Yeah. Oh.
No dissenting votes on this one. It sounds like everybody was pretty much there. We knew Q was coming, so that was
I also thought Stacey Abrams showing up was a wow moment. I thought that was totally unexpected for me.
Me tdo. Did not see that coming. Didn't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have to say I stacked the deck on this one because I shared the vote, the preliminary polls, and also the final polls to the Stacey Abrams Fair Fight Facebook groups, trying to like get her more votes because it was so cool that she was on Star Trek. But I guess there just weren't enough Trekkies and I didn't want to bother them during the actual election.
Thank you for that transparency there, Anne Marie. Well, I'm going to keep an eye on the voting process. Forget that Price Waterhouse.
I can see where it was shared to. Yeah.
I gotta say though, having the legacy characters pop up on the Prodigy, that was one of the first wow moments of Prodigy to me. It was like, oh, they're doing that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true. It was good.
But it was cool because I was watching with Alice, Cadet Alice, and I was like, oh, do I cram all these into her little brain right now before she knows who they are, or do I hold off? And I said, these are really famous people from the other Star Treks, and you're going to learn them someday. And we just kind of went on. And I said something about Spock, and she went, oh, that's Spock. And I was like, okay. So the culture is seeping in, whether we do anything or not.
All right.
Yay. Okay. Best
Episode.
Star Trek antagonist. See, I like this. Antagonist. I hate villain. It just seems so cardboard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Best or adversary is another one I like. Best Star Trek antagonist of 2022. And we've got, Angel from Strange New Worlds, Essentia from Prodigy, the Borg Queen Picard, the Diviner Prodigy, the Gorn on Strange New Worlds, which I guess is generic, and Peanut Hamper Lower Decks. And it looks like we had a really strong Borg voting block.
I think some of it, well, for this category, my headcanon is, Borg Queen is always going to be amazing, and this one was particularly amazing, but my personal headcanon is that sometimes you get just Star Trek fans voting. They might not have seen all of new Star Trek, and a Star Trek fan is going to love Borg Queens no matter what. So, and it's just familiar, and it's one they recognize.
Her manager has had the most years to be working the crowd, so yeah.
Yeah, the Diviner's got nothing on her, at least not yet.
Why didn't you go tell the Fringe fan base to come over and vote for John Noble?
It's because Fringe hasn't got me as a fan, so they need to try harder.
Okay, I'll have to get you in with the old blanket, fan base in the Fringe. Okay,
yeah.
So nobody was up. So a lot of these were just one-offs. The Borg Queen also had multiple. Well, of the live action that seemed going to dominate the anime, and then Angel had one appearance on Strange, intriguing. People liked it, but other than that, and the Gorn was not a specific character. It was
right.
Okay, most interesting new character introduced in 2022.
Quite a few here.
Quite a few.
Yes.
So again, Hemmer won. He's come and gone. Some of them have survived. Ortegas and La'an, and Dr. McDonald. Okay, our friend Dr.
Yeah, and it's awesome that she made this list, but really not Gwyn or Dal or Rock Talk.
Well,
they disrespected Dr. Aaron.
Well, the thing with the Prodigy list is that they were those characters were introduced in 2021.
Oh, I forgot about that. Thank you. Okay, I feel better now.
Technicalities.
Yeah.
Adam Sung. I'm sorry, which Sung was that from Picard? No, we love you, Brent.
Brent Spiner played him. Yeah.
Petra Aberdeen, who has been now back more than once on Lower Decks, Mariner's interesting friend, and the President of Earth, who I don't want to say stunt casting and diminish that. It was an awesome moment, but it wasn't really a character. I mean,
or interesting. Just a shock.
It was more of a symbol and a cipher than it was the character.
Yeah.
So I think this was rather easy to. Well, that along with the two Strange. I think Strange New had the strength of the nominations, and it was hard.
I was going to say all three are really good choices.
Are all strong.
And
La'an is a great character.
Say what?
Ortegas, we just La'an is a great character. Ortegas, we just want to know more about.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, but I also think Essentia is a dark horse. Essentia is an awesome character too. I was glad they didn't kill her at the end of Prodigy.
Yes,
I think we're going to see more from her too next year. So maybe she and Ortegas are going to be duking it out for
her
the
and her whole Commodore O cosplay. Yeah.
Hey.
This is really hard though. You know what? And maybe Hemmer got a vote because people thought we can vote for La'an and Ortegas next year, but we can't vote for Hemmer next year.
It's true. As far as we know.
Oh, it's new characters, so forget it's over for all of them. New episode, best new episode of 2022 Star Trek across the board. So we've got 1 from Picard. Thank you for this order here. 1 from Picard, 3 from Prodigy, 2
Woo.
Lower Decks, and 3 Strange New Worlds.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So
Okay, this is
out
a
of
toughie.
51, so like it is impressive that we got the list down. And I also want to say, like, for all these categories, it's just naturally falls that a lot of the categories have representation from at least 4 of the 5 shows, like, and which speaks to how many fans each of them have and how good they all are. And I'm sure Discovery would have had a little bit more love had they not had just 6 episodes.
Well, there's several things. One of them is that. One of them is the ones that happen later in the year. We remember, unless people are being,
Yeah, I was feeling so bad for Kobayashi.
Yeah. But they do skew. It's like the later in the year it gets, the more there are. And Discovery was early. So no, I mean, these are all awesome. The pilots well, no, not the pilots, but anyway. So yeah. So as controversial as it was with some people, which I think was overkill. There were a couple of quirky things. I was like, okay, this is my one confusion point. But Quality of Mercy certainly had the buzz. I mean, yeah.
Definitely. Although, you know what? Supernova Part 2.
What?
Yeah, Supernova is
Supernova
really...
Part 2. Oh my goodness. Brought me to tears. And every time that I've watched it, same thing. It's not like watching it has diminished that power. No, it takes me by the hold and does not let go. It's just so emotionally captivating. And especially with Nami's music, she just knocks it out of the park especially with the back half of Prodigy, but especially in Supernova.
And I go back to, I think more and more about this in this context, that Lower Decks is so fantastically manic and funny that I think it's its own worst enemy when it comes to this kind of thing.
I think you're right. Because
a lot of the spiky moments that in the week to week you remember, I think they blur more than the especially the live act. Prodigy is slower. I don't mean slow negatively here. It's less manically paced than Lower Decks. Prodigy is, and all the live actions are too. So I think Lower Decks that way is in a class by itself, and maybe it fights against what we're looking for with nominations and awards that way. When you're thinking of moments,
it's a different feel.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just an observation. Most interesting. So nobody had a really outlier wish there on that.
So one thing that I think is really interesting about these awards too is that obviously this was such a massive TOS episode, and what's interesting is that people really loved Spock-a-mock, not Spock-a-mock. But like, it's impressive that they didn't split the vote, so that one still won. But going back to last year's Lappies, what shocked me the most of everything was that the best friendship was not Jake and Nog or Tom and Harry, despite the massive following at that time of like Delta Flyers and Seventh Rule. Like the number one winner, like the winner was Kirk and Spock. So I think you can't underestimate how much love people just have for TOS, no matter which like splinters of fandom they fall in. So I think that really helped this episode.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Plus, I love that song, Making Memories. It's so
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I listen to that like every day now. It's so
into
beautiful.
the TV trend of the song of the episode, which so Picard is also doing. New Picard is doing.
I Shazam that. Yeah.
That really, I had to go dig her. I did the thing. I went and dug her up, and like some of the other series, like I'm looking down. I didn't see The Last of Us or the best. Yeah, but when Linda Ronstadt was trending, I was like, oh no, and you go and look. No, she's still with us. People are digging up, whatever one of her earlier songs, and I was like, oh, that's right. We've got like 2 generations that didn't have a crush on her when she was like at her height there. Oh my God. Anyway, which is awesome. But I didn't know those singers, and it was great to go find their YouTube and
so good.
Put it around. Okay. Most interesting series regular or recurring regular in Strange New World only. So we've got a little hyper focus.
Okay, so this was sort of like to balance out that interesting category. So basically for this one, we made a caveat that was you had to be in 2 or more episodes, which basically left us with like 14 people, and then we cut it down to this list.
To the main cast.
It was clear, I mean, it was clear by a few percentage points that like T'Pring didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
But close.
Well, this is
Fair.
basically the regular cast.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Hard
let's
to
line
vote.
them up and pick a soccer team. Let's just line them up and pick our baseball team.
Well, and is it any surprise who won this one? You can't beat the
No.
captain.
But did you guys vote for Pike?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, this is the kind of what-
Just for the hair
I
alone.
was going to say it's amazing that his hair wasn't a second nomination.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see that on the list, so I went to the next thing.
Yeah.
You had to get that in at the early nominations voting. See, you had to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that I just remember looking at that one and going, "How are you?" I feel like I'm picking among my kids or something. It's like, how are you
Exactly.
supposed to- and 1 year in, and Himmer died, and no, was it a sympathy vote for Himmer? What's going?
But come on, the captain.
It's like I don't know. Did anybody else? Well, okay, then I'll say this: did anybody have like a number 2 choice on this list?
Okay.
That's a lot harder.
La'an is strong. Chapel is strong, even though she didn't get a spotlight episode. Chapel is very, very intriguing as a character.
See, that's
at least the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lon is great. You can see that we're developing number 1. She has a name. And Ortega's amazing. But I think it's like this intersection of Jess Bush being this really interesting actress in the role, and the whole concept that everybody carries their Majel Chapel with them. And whatever Majel did or didn't do with Chapel, it's not her thing, because it was like the 8th character. It's Jean's girlfriend, mistress. He got her on the show. We're going to keep her in a box, and she gets crumbs. But occasionally she gets a good bit to do, right? Like in Journey to Babel, or in Return to Tomorrow, or in, when she solves the
What
day.
are little girls? Yeah.
She saves the day, yeah. Or pulls out the ice cream things for Or What Are Little Girls was the spotlight show, but then keeping her on, right?
Yeah.
And some people were like, "Oh, Chapel wasn't supposed to be that important." And I've always said, Majel somewhere is both smiling at Jess and Chapel, and she's so jealous because you saw what Majel could do with Loxana.
Oh,
I could
Yeah.
totally
favorite.
see her being that way with Chapel if they let her do that, but that was not going to happen in 1966. So,
Right.
Anyway, that's the mix of the actress, the role, and the fact that it's a legacy. And what are you going to do with the legacy character? And that's, to me, been very. Plus, I feel like we saw Pike. I knew what he was going to do on Discovery, which is not his fault for this vote, but
True.
Yeah.
But also, you can't beat him when he's making you food and he's in that apron and the hair. Yes, I'm going to mention the hair again. Like, look, okay, I got a little bit of a crush, but he's just great. Also, a very good captain who meets you where you are and helps you get to where you need to be. Good leadership.
Sure.
I am apologizing once again to everybody in the chat. I just glanced over when we have a break here, and I saw comedy forecast Pike's Peak on Paramount Mountain. Yeah, talking about Pike.
Best meme ever.
Yes. Okay, well that was a wrencher.
Well, I'm just gonna say that I didn't vote for Pike. I love Dr. Mbenga. I think he's amazing, and then obviously Chapel, but I think who I went with was number 1 because she's interesting. I think she's going to have even more backstory. The end of season 1, she was fascinating in. And I can't get enough of her. Same reasons with like Majel's character being brought over. And she's such a powerhouse, so good at her job, and like such a stupid thing, but also means a lot. Like in her quarters, she has like her makeup vanity there. And I'm like, yeah, because nobody ever acknowledges how long the women have to like spend getting ready in the morning and Starfleet even still. So I love that, like their little nods to the fact that she's a real person. Love it.
That is nice.
So old series, okay, Menagerie and Cage. I just remember one of the first times a trivia question really knocked me on my butt as to the things that different people look at.
This happened?
I'm talking well, and this was like years ago. This was like, I don't know, in the 80s or 90s.
Before you got a briefcase?
I was either in something or I was just watching it. And the question was, what color was number 1's fingernail polish? And I was like,
oh,
what? Like, who's going to know? And then I went, well, obviously some people did, not me, but obviously some people do. And, do you know? Does anybody know?
Because
I
don't know the original.
They've done this more than once with her.
Right, because doesn't it
Rebecca.
change a little bit?
Oh, with Rebecca, her
The only
manicure
I'm talking about
changes.
the only time you saw her was filmed for The Cage and then redone for Menagerie.
Oh,
It's either
For Mabel.
black or it's like really dark black.
okay.
I was like, if it's
Which
the
blew
same as
me away
Rebecca
when
Romijn,
it's one of those things I went back to look at it like next time. I was like, oh my God, her fingernails were like dark black or blue black or whatever. And once or twice in the season, they had her fingernails be that. And I was like,
That's awesome.
not it's not like every day she gets up and her fingernails are permanently augment Elysian blue black.
I think Rebecca
Her manicure changes
Rebecca
during season one.
have the Starfleet on them.
There was a point where,
because you can never have enough deltas on everything
No.
that you wear or touch.
never.
Not in this decade.
Actually, the LLAPy awards on all my manicures now. That's branding.
Okay. Did anybody in the chat know that? By the way, I'm just curious if any. I'll see.
That is a good question.
Okay, so our next category: most rewatchable episode of Strange New Worlds. We're in the Strange New Worlds section here. There were 5 nominees. So the pilot, Strange New Worlds. Not to be confused with Strange New World, which was Enterprise, which wouldn't have been allowed. Okay, Strange New Worlds, Spock a Mock Muck, The Elysian Kingdom, All Those Who Wander, i.e. The Death of Hammer, and A Quality of Mercy, i.e. the Pike and a Monster Maroon with an Enterprise downward cut. Okay, on the lapel. Balance of Terror revisited. Okay. I remember I looked at that and I was like, oh no, they went for it, but they totally got the cut of the uniform wrong. Oh no, they're just following the Enterprise cut. Okay, it's okay then. Fine. It's future fight, so who cares? Anyway, the vote for this was Spock Amok. We were laughing.
Yeah.
1000% agree.
So what?
1000% agree. I rewatched this one so much.
How was the vote on this? Can you say, Anne-Marie? Was
So
it
I actually we only Muhammad and sometimes Ryan know because we don't want it just
I know, but
matters to us to win.
people
So
related.
I really want to know. So I just don't know
okay.
the ins and outs of the percentages.
Gotcha.
So what do we think, gang?
I suspect this was a good
totally
winner,
agree.
but I
Totally
have
agree.
no idea.
Yeah, it's a really good episode for one, but also the fact that it's so funny, that always ranks higher when Star Trek does funny well.
And I know they had a ball making the Elysian Kingdom, and I think everybody enjoyed watching it. But and I don't mean to say this like I'm a guy yelling at the kids on his lawn. It's like it's on the nose. It's going to be funny. They're all enjoying the hell out of it, and they're being swashbucklers and cowardly and whatever. They're playing these over the top characters, and it's really funny. But we know it's supposed to be funny, and Spock Amok is playing straight funny in the character funny, and
which makes it funnier. Yeah.
And this was not the most comedic episode category. This was most rewatchable episode, which means people want comfort food, I guess.
Shocking in this day and age. We want escapist entertainment and to have a good time.
On the first series ever of the new era that's standalone episodes.
Yeah.
What a concept.
And also the fashion was amazing. Oh, Bernadette Croft did an amazing job with it.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Everybody talks about all the Spock Amok scenes early on. No one ever talks about Spock into Pring when she slugs the Vulcan that's on the the rehab ranch. Which was like, they let her do that. They let them do that. All righty then. And then their reactions like, oh, I did that. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Like, there's farting in public, and then there's that. Okay, punching a guy when you're a Vulcan. Most Federation moment in Prodigy. Thank you for this category. This was I guess the category
this
came
was
from
for
Brody.
Cadet Alice.
Yeah, I'll tell her. And a few thousand others. So if you're not watching Prodigy, you should be. It's amazing. And the more it got to the end of their full long first season, the more I said that over and over. People were going, wait, they're laying down cannon. They're getting close to the Mars attack. Oh my God. So these are all Prodigy, obviously, nominations. The winner was Hollow Janeway Sacrifice. Oh,
yeah.
Hollow Janeway Sacrifice. Spoilers, everybody. The thing that got all the attention out of the gate for the promotion and publicity of the show is no more. But it's a program. They can just reboot it. Oh, Hollow Janeway sacrifices herself to help the kids escape the protostar when they have to self-destruct their hero ship, which is the other thing. It was like killing a character. They killed the hero ship and Hollow Janeway in the same.
So much emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful moment. Very Star Trek. Very needs of the many outweighing the needs of the one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
And the idea that these are all Prodigy moments. Which Prodigy moment? Because that's Prodigy was, when she's sitting there, now look, here's my hologram, and here's all the races, and there was a little bit of the techno nerds were going, oh my God, we just confirmed they're all the 4 founders, and there's their seal. Oh wait, the Tellarites have a seal? Oh yes, sir. It was actually first seen in Discovery. Everybody's like scrambling around looking at the Picard alternate future for the Tellarite flag. That's what I was doing.
That was a great
Larry.
impression.
Yeah, Larry, if Kate quits the show, you can step right in and no one will notice.
Well, it's easy. No, it's I don't want to. No, I think Garrett's first in line though. But anyway,
that's true. He does a good one too.
But seriously,
he does.
I mean, this is like one that's like there are no losers on this. Because that's the heart of Prodigy in a subtle way. Hopefully it's not like on the nose. But sometimes it's kids and it needs to be a little on the nose. So I didn't know. Did anybody have another, idea on this? I don't want to.
No,
you can't surpass the emotion of this one. Although I do love Gwen's appeal for helping and getting the non-Federation ship involved. That was also really good. Just does not carry quite the same emotional weight.
Yeah.
Right. And Janeway's speech was also very good.
Say what?
Janeway's speech. Arguing for Starfleet.
Sure. Yeah.
Can we provide the best captainy courtroom speech and the best captainy on the bridge calling everybody else speech, and then the best captainy speech to their own crew speech.
Can we break that down, please?
The Gwen appeal for help was sitting there. I was thinking, now tell me again how she's not the captain in this. Like that's the most captainy speech ever when she's doing her. I'm going down. Yeah. Yes, and now she's off the show to go to her own people, but see how long that lasts.
Nah, we'll see her.
That's the equivalent of it's been arrested, but since Lower Decks and Strange New both used it. So we're all good with that. There's these are all winning answers. Yeah. Oh, you know what? The wow moment. This was Federation moment, but a wow moment that didn't make the wow category was the doubling up of the Bernari ensign that was a little girl in the Delta Quadrant. Is the one.
Man, that was a wow of my heart.
That was
I love Counterpoint so much.
Too bad a live action couldn't have stolen that, but Janeway's on Prodigy, so this is. I was like, good deep cut there that makes Anyway.
One of my favorite things about Counterpoint also is when Char had the To the Journey podcast and she used to say, Brax.
Oh, Brax.
Oh, so good.
Deep cut, Anne-Marie. See?
Yeah, so good.
She never forgets anything. She
reminds
me of something I said in 2011. And it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
She remembers more about the podcast than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, another Prodigy. Biggest plot twist of Prodigy. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Everything from Murph mutating, transforming, to Dal being revealed as an augment. Sorry, buddy, we're spoiling the best of the stuff here. Hollow Janeway being reprogrammed to get the kids stuck in basically an evil Janeway reprogramming. All of the various alien ships showing up to save them after Gwen's appeal, and Dal making it into Starfleet instead of Gwen, which was kind of but the winner was Essentia cosplaying Commodore O. I'm sorry, Essentia. Revealing herself. That's all I kept thinking was, it's okay. At least she has a better name than O. Like that's such a Vulcan name. Didn't see that coming. Essentia revealing herself to be a Val Nakot. Aside from her dad, aside from Gwen's dad being a time agent, she's like the time agent checking up on the time agent.
She is. What did you all think of this as the winner? You agree with it?
I 100% agree with it. I was shocked when it happened, which is really funny because I should have seen it all coming. There were so many clues laid out in the episodes when she was talking to Diviner. Why was she the one who was so interested in Diviner regaining his memory? Why was she the one coming up with these ideas to pitch to Janeway? It was all there, but I still didn't see it coming. I was still shocked.
Okay, I did, and that's what ruined it for me.
Oh, I sense you had a disagreement here, Char. What was your?
Yeah,
vote on?
I mean, really, there was just too many giveaways where usually Prodigy's really good about hiding things in plain sight, but I caught on to that one really early, and that one took it down a notch. So I don't remember which one I voted for, to be honest.
So the whole look, they have a Trill character too. That didn't last long for you.
Like one episode.
As simple
One.
as simplicity
Honestly,
of-
you know what started me down this weird path of, okay, something's up with her, was the fact that she and Gwen had a very similar face shape. Well, Thonacott. And from that point forward, it was just like, okay, maybe she's just like Gwen disguised as somebody. And like, again, she's like the time travel agent's agent and just didn't know all the details yet. But my mind went spinning pretty early on with that one.
So in
Now-
season 3, we get the time agent who's checking up on her while she checks up on the time.
It's going to be a whole series of them. There's going to be 12 Chakotay's. It's going to be a big mess, and Janeway's going to have to fix it all.
It's going to be worse than Data with the buckets and the 3 times.
Oh, no.
Okay. The
It's going to be
buckets
like
and the
parallels, you know?
buckets. Yeah, multiple wars.
JC will never have been so happy.
Wars are everywhere.
I'm coming, Chakotay. Which
The-
one?
The time cops are everywhere. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh my
Gosh, I hope this is being recorded. Okay, it is. Funniest Lower Decks episode in 2022.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So there's 4 here: Mining the Mind's Minds, Hear All, Trust Nothing, Mathematically Perfect Redemption, and Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus. And everybody's cheating because this is, for some reason, last season's titles weren't quite as, to me, memorable. I don't mean memorable. I mean like instantly evocative of what they were about.
Yes.
No, true.
Yes, evocative. Okay, yay.
Evocative.
So the winner was Hear All, Trust Nothing,
The DS9 episode.
the DS9 episode.
Yeah.
Which again, I feel like sentiment, not that it's a bad thing, but I think that was the easily graspable one for people to go, about.
It's the one where they go to DS9, maybe the
Mhm.
most easily relatable. These are all good. Like you can't lose no matter who wins with this one because it is Lower Decks and they're all funny. Season 3 I thought was pretty consistently good.
Mhm.
So yeah,
I would have argued for the season premiere, the one where they solved the mystery. They solved the Captain Freeman problem, but when they went to Bozeman, Montana, and all the first contact.
True.
All the first contact.
Gotta
We
ride
went
the
to
Phoenix.
They went to Cisco's restaurant. They had the Ketracel white hot hot sauce.
I'd like
I
some
also-
of that.
I own love. So,
Go ahead.
great episode. No, a great episode. I probably would have voted for that.
That's true. That was really good. Also, Earth is whack.
Earth is
I'm sorry, we haven't had these for 20 years yet, and I haven't got the episodes down, some of them down yet. But it's the career fair,
Which
Oh,
no.
yeah.
where the brilliance of Lower Decks to me came across as anything, anybody, any fandom or creators have debated or argued about or said we can't argue about it, it's unsolvable. Somewhere between Boimler's rant when he went crazy, and
Oh my gosh,
That was
funny.
so good. I loved it.
and Armina's taunting of Mariner, somewhere between all those characters, everything that fans had ever like, well, how come everybody has different uniforms? Whoa, no, it's a police force. No, it's a military. No, it's just scientists. No, it's. I was like, is Mike trying to solve every single fan debate of 50 years in this 1.5 hour?
So funny.
It was hysterical. Of course, there were
Yeah, it
no
was
like
amazing.
answers. They didn't get to an answer, but the idea that he's throwing it out there and vomiting up some old fan bar fight over it all was just hysterical. So I don't know. Did anybody have something they wanted to?
I loved the Peanut Hamper Rauda love story because like it was so shocking. That's what we got, and then it was so shocking every time it would take a turn. I just thought that was hilarious. But I know it was a controversial episode.
It's divisive.
To me,
You either love it or you
my
hate it.
God, it was hilarious.
Yeah. And of course, the funny part in Crisis Point, anytime you have a sequel,
Oh, knick-knack.
you don't know, if Paradoxus is going to be a sequel to Vindicta, how you do that.
Oh
But
my
the
gosh.
moment when he comes up and it's the stable and you have a horse and you're thinking, oh, he's going to meet Kirk, and it's
The horsey's going to bite you now. I love that line. Like, where did that come from?
The most important man, the most important person in Starfleet history is Miles O'Brien. It was like that to me. That was like the funniest wackadoodle moment.
So good.
Really touching, but and the fact they got George in to do the voice was just great.
Amazing.
Okay, we can move on. So, best two-person scene in look, it's a dedicated Discovery category. Yay! So we're only 6 episodes, right? Best two-person scene in Discovery, and when you're shooting in pandemic, those are handy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was Ryan's brainchild of a category that really did that strength for that kind of challenge justice.
Yeah, there's 7 here, and the winner is. And I think in the long run, this is people. This may have been one of the most surprising things of all the surprising things in all the other series. And the surprising thing about Discovery, for so much of the time, is people kind of waiting for it to gel or settle in some century, in some format of some vibe. But and I think they're getting there. I think they've done big strides. But the one that I think the first time I was like, oh, I wonder if that jumped off the page the way Worf and Dax did, the way Spock and McCoy did. That wasn't planned was Saru and Tarina. Their arc, and the winner, the nominee, was when they finally actually confessed their feelings for one another.
Finally.
So crazily, well, first of all, I was shocked they won. I mean, I wasn't shocked they won. They are amazing. But there were 2 different finalists for Tarina and Saru. So I was like very glad to see that didn't split them if they were going to win.
Saru asking her with help on balancing his emotions was another nominee. So splitting the vote.
And I mean, I think it was a really tough category. Like that Michael Burnham non one was so evocative of like Worf and Data kind of talking about like how to be in command. And then there was also, I mean, what I loved was Culber and Sir giving
dating advice,
which I thought was adorable. But the cool thing, where I was going with this is that when Doug Jones was accepting the award with Tara Rosling, I think is how you say her name, he was saying that
you mean the award show had actual Doug Jones and actual Tara on to accept the award?
Yes.
People need to go back and watch the replay of those awards.
So Doug actually said he was coming back from New York Comic Con with Michelle Paradise, and they were sitting in the plane, and he was like, have you thought of this like continuing further? Because like there's a lot of chemistry, and it just like jumps out at you, and it seems like it's written like she's on the ship, she leaves, he stares out the window looking longingly, and that's sort of like how that came to be.
Okay. We have 5 categories. We're technically supposed to be off in 9 minutes. Oops. Okay.
Lightning round.
Remember, we had a 20-minute wait.
So really fast before I forget, the person who won like the third person, the third place person is an amazing human who we love very much.
For our latecomers, this is the contest to predict winners.
Yes.
Okay.
And we had a ton of entries, and it was very hard to even guess. You really have to know the fandom well, and because this, remember, is you're guessing who the fandom picked, not who you picked. So third place is our very own Mai, who's usually live from Tokyo. I don't know what the time zone is. So she's either asleep or she's working, probably, because I don't know if they have a President's Day there. I'll announce again if I see her pop in, but otherwise we'll tell her tomorrow.
Say your name again.
Mai, M-A-I, and usually when you see her in the live chats, it's Mai live from Tokyo. She's amazing.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Congrats.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to run, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to run through these end wins. Okay. Are we still on the 8:45 cutoff?
Let me check while you're running.
Okay. I'm going to do that, though, because, so best Easter egg in Picard 2022, the punk on the bus.
Yeah.
Kirk Thatcher.
Absolutely.
Who gave a hilarious an absolutely hilarious speech where he was sitting on the docks or on rocks
I'm not Kenny G or whatever.
Yeah. And he was in a different universe where he won all the Emmys. Like that speech was incredible.
Yeah, you just can't beat Kirk Thatcher, the punk on the bus. No. Oh, that was a wonderful moment.
Well, he's worked a lot in Muppet World with Muppet features and things. So talk about your Muppet Star Trek crossover.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move on. So most shocking. We're back to the whole universe. Any Star Trek, I guess, any era. Yes, any era. Most shocking death in Star Trek. So there's 6 good.
Wait, Kirk Thatcher's texting me right now.
Hi, Kirk Thatcher. Are you watching?
Making sure we enjoyed his video.
Hey.
Okay, sorry.
Awesome.
Okay.
That is so. That's like the brainwaves are all in sync.
While we move on, Anne Marie, can you put it up on your camera? Or is it too private?
How?
Okay.
It's too private.
You do this. You take the phone and you go there.
She's not saying what she's texting to Kirk Thatcher.
Moving right along. Most shocking death. Who would you think? Just off the top of your head, who would you think?
Jadzia.
Well, Hammer comes to mind, given what we've been talking about.
I would have said, honestly, I would have said Tasha Yar. Like, for the whole universe, I'm still shocked by her dying. But.
Well, I think that was 1 year in, and Jadzia had 6 years in, and it was a total shock. And they kept it a better secret than even in 1988. But yeah, Jadzia dying in DS9, Tears of the Prophets. Won that. But some great nominee deaths are in there too. Grossest moment in Star Trek.
This is a great category
across all the eras. This was an easy one for me, huh?
I would have said the SETI eel ear.
Yeah, I would have said that too.
Well,
I would have said the same.
Well, these are all pretty good.
Before last year, I would have said that, I think, maybe. But the winner is Ichep getting his eyeball ripped out in Picard.
Without anesthesia, just,
I don't know if it's the grossest. I think it's the most gruesome.
Okay. If you're going to start parsing your G words,
yeah.
I would.
I mean, the grossest one for me is Durst, the Vidian wearing Durst's face. Just
say the thing.
Okay. You killed Durst. Poor Roxanne and those teeth.
Is that another To the Journey memory for you? Of course I can.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's coming a mile away.
Oh God. Oh my
God. I'm gonna move on. So, favorite romantic kiss in Star Trek. Now, I think this is interesting because one of the one nominee you might think is not in here is The Famous Kiss, but it was not romantic. It was forced. Kirk and Uhura.
Right.
Yeah,
so everybody wondering where was Kirk Uhura? That was not a romantic. They were both forced to it. So it was coerced. So okay, gang. So it's Kira and Odo in his way. So
of these nominees, that is the cutest.
It was a moment of clarity.
It was.
I love it. Yeah. That was such a wonderful line to like kind of envelop that. This one had a lot of controversy, which I was shocked by. Like, I know
the voting result was controversial.
Well, just people like feel very strongly about who should win Best Kiss. There were tons of add-ins, and then when the polls closed, more people were writing in that this was the category they were mad they missed the preliminary polls on. People had like such strong opinions.
Well, okay, what was the nominee that wasn't in the
I'll tell you, Lori Ulster, I think she maybe wrote it in kind of towards the end of the preliminary polling time. She said she wanted Book and Michael Burnham. She feels very strongly over at Trek Movie that they deserve to win. But there was controversy on her podcast because Tony didn't agree. So but everybody has very strong opinions, myself included.
Well, you know what? I think I know what I voted for. Of all of these legacy moments, and there's awesome moments and ones that weren't in here. The one that I think in the different times of my life when I saw shows for the first time and were moved by them. And maybe it's when I'm now, when I was 20 years ago, when I was a teenager, whatever. Of all of these, the one that I probably saw it coming, but maybe not when it happened. And I actually had to stop and go, oh, and then I realized like I was alone in my room watching was Dal and Gwen.
I agree with you.
Teenagers. They're like the youngest of anybody in any of these lists. And it was and it wasn't over the top. It wasn't, censor 1960s, beware the open mouth kiss. I mean, it wasn't anywhere near that. It was just this sweet little teenage kiss. And I was like, oh, that may be like the sweetest kiss ever in Star Trek ever. And then to know they were going to go their ways after that, separate ways. So,
and it also paid off. It also paid off a moment from a prior episode when Dal got confused and leaned in for a kiss, and Gwen was like, "Yo, what are you doing, man?" Like,
yeah.
You made it weird.
Okay, I gotta move on.
All those summer nights. Okay.
Okay.
oh my God!
This is my nomination. Pet peeve quibble. Favorite on-screen musical instrument performer in Trek. So we have there's 8 here, and the winner, sentimental favorite apparently, Jean-Luc with his Ressican flute. And we know how the generations have come down because Spock and his Vulcan lute lyre, whatever, didn't work. And you got Riker and trombone, Data violin, Nella Darren with her piano. Okay, Odo with his piano. Okay, what? Harry Kim is okay. You know who wasn't in here? Adam and his space hippie guitar from Way to Eden. Nominee.
Amazing.
I was shocked at that.
Come on, space hippies. Come on.
Adam and his guitar not being here. I don't care that
this was one that did have a ton of write-ins, I have to say.
That did?
This category had so many write-ins because music is just such an important part of Star Trek.
It's like a universal language or something.
Exactly. And last year we did like favorite singing moments. This was sort of the follow-up. But yeah, hard.
Yeah. You know what? I could not vote. I could not vote for Jean-Luc Picard and the flute because those are not his hands.
Oh yeah, that's right. He has the hand model or the hand.
So yeah,
I was talking about that.
Oh well, that wasn't. I didn't because you mean the actor versus the character?
Just
so
like,
the actor has
like once we've seen that that's not actually Patrick
else.
Stewart in his hands, it's just that totally nah. Garrett Wong learned to play the clarinet for Voyager.
Yeah.
I think your To the Journey bias is showing a little there.
Yeah, maybe a little, but it's also true.
I mean, I was rooting for Anne-Marie with the 4 hands who was in Gambit Part 1 or 2, but that's just me.
A little Andorian blues. Yeah. A Klingon opera, whatever. Okay, so that's the categories we were charged with. Now we have these 3 special awards. I can read them off. I don't know. It's like, what are we going to say? Like, no, they shouldn't have got that. That's not what we're going to say. But so Ken Mitchell, are these new, Anne-Marie?
So basically they're named after who? So Kenneth Mitchell, I'm sure Ryan's like getting mad at me that we're still going. We'll finish in like a minute. So it's just important. Like last year, we had the Kenneth Mitchell Hope Award and Mary Chifo wrote a really beautiful introduction and it was presented to Kenneth Mitchell who came on and told, I mean, if you haven't seen it, you can actually just look on the virtual TrekCon channel on YouTube and look up Kenneth Mitchell. And we just clipped it because he talks about William Shatner. So, like, sometimes his Twitter is not who the person is. And he, like, has this beautiful thing with Kenneth Mitchell where he, like, gave him a tree. And they're talking about, like, their own mortality and what they want to come back as. So it's just really beautiful. And so we continued that category as the Kenneth Mitchell Hope Award. And this year, after the year that Doug Drexler had and how much he's achieved in his life and how much he continues to give back to Star Trek fandom and also the world. And one common thread of this convention is people even in the live chat and in the videos, Doug Drexler is like mentoring of just next generations of people. It's incredible. So he has the Hope Award. And then I'll just run through the other 2 really fast. The Aaron Eisenberg Community Award, which obviously last year went to Aaron Eisenberg and Melissa accepted. I mean, nobody brought community together more than he did. And he knew all his fans and talked at conventions to every single person who would walk by, whether they were paying for something or not. And he's the reason for the season because he started 7th rule and then all of this happened. And he just loved everybody so much. So he was last year. And then this year, there really was nobody else who could have it besides Chase Masterson. And all she does for the community for decades and Star Trek and broader with all of her pop culture hero coalition work and just all of her work with charity and just really listening and caring about people and knowing the fans.
And scientists and
the YMCA now.
Yes, and all of that.
And around the world. And
I got to see her yesterday for the first time. Got to see her and give her a hug first time since pandemic, I think. Anyway.
Beautiful. And she'll be out on the women's panel tomorrow, I think, around noon.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the third person, last year we gave it to Nichelle Nichols, the Lifetime Achievement Award, and we were lucky enough where she actually made a video to accept it and sent it in.
So cool.
She was like thinking of her fans till the very end. So this year we just felt like Walter Koenig really deserves it because he's been around with us for decades. And one thing that really jumped out to me, I finally got to meet him at STLV. I mean, we wouldn't have conventions, we wouldn't have virtual TrekCon if we didn't have like somebody so dedicated, in addition to everything else he's done in his life, going to these conventions and making sure conventions become a thing and continue through the years. And he's just always so pleasant. I personally love it when he giggles. And he's so beautiful. And it was amazing that he was watching the award show from his computer and just like happy to be here.
Yes.
He's lovely. And I really love that he talked about his son and his family. And he gave so much of himself and still does.
And he just lost his wife in the last
Exactly.
year.
Yeah.
He just lost Judy. Yeah.
Exactly.
But he's still
powering on and going to multiple conventions
he's
a
still
week.
writing. He's working on something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. His writing and his books. He's just incredible. So we had to give it to Walter.
Wow.
So that's 2022.
That's 2022. So awesome wrap up. I'm just going to say real quick, we're supposed to be off, but thanks everybody in the chat. You're awesome. I'm so sorry we didn't monitor and throw things up, and pop things on the screen and all that all night long. But I tried to dip in when I could, but we had a lot to get through. We were a little late being able to get started, but packed a lot in here. And again, thank you all for being with us, and thank Char, thank John, thank Anne Marie, and thanks Anne Marie for liaisoning over, and Ryan dipped in too.
Yeah,
from doing
amazing
this.
job, Anne Marie.
Awesome.
Amazing job all night.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Well,
yes, because by the time you're like wrangling those first wave of voting on who's going to vote or something, I don't know, and then that leads into the you go through so many funnels down to this.
Yeah,
on top of doing the virtual TrekCon planning that everybody's doing. It's amazing. Yeah.
So much fun. So what we like to call the end of the day now is what we like to call the gamma shift, where we replay a couple of videos from earlier in the day for our international people and also like late nighters. So that's actually already just started, and that's over on, I believe, the 7th Rule channel, because let me see if I can pop the link in here. And it's a replay of the Delta Flyers 7th Rule crossover episode.
So everybody run over there real fast and dump us, because that's awesome if you didn't see it earlier in the day. But I will just say,
leave your like here, because victory is like.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the gamma shift. So you didn't go to a 4-shift rotation. Okay.
I have to consider it for next year.
That's okay. Maybe you do. Maybe you become an admiral in 30 years on an animated show.
Ryan is
Maybe
a big Delacour fanatic, so we'll see.
All right. Well, for all of that gang, for everybody that didn't ask us to do this, asked me to host it on my channel, like and subscribe. Check us out on all of our things. If you're not in my community, check me out on Tuesdays live, or the Trek Files from Roddenberry, TREKLAND Treks if you're ever in the mood for a location tour.
Or tomorrow.
What?
Or tomorrow, live at LLAPy.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Tomorrow at 1 to 2.
That's right.
We have a virtual Trek panel with Terrace Cassidy from Geek Nation Tours and myself, talking about some tips and tricks for you if you're chasing down location sites, and some of our wacky stories with fan tourists too. How about you, Char? How about you, John? Real quick.
Well, I'll go. Best place to find me aside from
bifurcated. Yeah.
Best place to find me besides Star Trek and Chill on the virtual TrekCon channel every Friday is at Roddenberry Entertainment. You'll occasionally find me doing Mission Log Live and Mission Log Prodigy.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And John.
You can find my work at Screen Rant. The Star Trek beat editor, so I oversee our movies and TV coverage. We crank out amazing articles, feature articles, interviews, and news articles every day. And you can follow me on Twitter at Back of the Head.
Awesome.
An amazing Twitter follow, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Anne Marie, you going to say something before I close it out?
Twitter at Anne Marie Segal 1. Otherwise, you can find me at the next video in the live chat.
All right, there we go. Thanks again, everybody. Go check out what you didn't see already, and we will see you tomorrow. There's a whole nother day of virtual TrekCon tomorrow. So, good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Trek well.